Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today, we are talking about a pretty interesting story. This is actually an update to some of the previous TSM drama slash fallout slash ongoing situation that they have been dealing with. This video is related to the Shenny benching. We heard originally, hey, he needs to get more accustomed or acclimated or used to the United States or North America or Los Angeles or whatever. So he's going to be going down to Academy for a little while, and no one really know what that meant. He played in Academy for a little while. He ends up coming back. Then we hear, the interview that Chowie puts out that, Shenny, hey, he insta-locked. He kind of just went rogue in Champ Select, picked his own champion. Things went crazy. They talked to him about it after the game, and he was disrespectful slash rude slash whatever to the coaches. And that's why he got benched. So we had one reason, then we had another. And today, there's even more to the story. It just keeps getting crazier and crazier. I don't know. That's what we're going to be talking about. So definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy this video. I would appreciate that so much. And subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Help us run those numbers up a little bit. That would be, absolutely insane. It's been great. We've seen a ton of growth. The channel's been doing really well. I'm having so much fun making these videos, talking about all this stuff with you guys. And I know the next couple of weeks, next couple of months are going to be even better. There's a little bit of an off-season between spring and summer. There's MSI, there's LEC playoffs, LCS playoffs, all that good stuff. So you guys do not want to miss out. With that being said, let's get right into this. And what we're talking about today is, I don't know, this never really popped off. It didn't really get that. I mean, I guess it got decently big on the TSM subreddit. I don't really know if it got that big on the LCS subreddit. And the tweet itself does not have that many likes. And again, that's part of what I want this channel to do. I want to go find those lesser seen stories for you guys, to bring that stuff to the light, stuff that I think is interesting, stuff that I think should be seen more. I want to grow my platform to be able to tell those stories, to be able to present them to you, because that's what I love doing. I love going out and finding those hidden gems, those big stories and stuff, and bringing them to you guys. So the one we have today, this is from LCS EV on Twitter. Again, not a guy with a super long track record, not a guy that I know that much about. I know that, hey, he's got 600 followers on Twitter, nothing too bad. I know he's obviously like a Wooloo kind of offshoot guy and stuff. And he's been putting out some stories recently. He's been doing a lot of stuff. I know that he did tweet out this. This was before actually Shenny was announced coming back to the LCS and before Kaiduel got benched. He tweeted out major changes are coming to TSM in the LCS. And then obviously TSM made some pretty big changes that season. So again, I don't know how reliable he is. I don't know how great he is or whatever. But that doesn't really matter in this instance because these are screenshots and translations and all that stuff. But just kind of getting that out there. This comes from LCS Eevee. He says, messages between Shenny and assistant general manager Glenn Yang. This is the guy who came over from PSG Talent or whatever. The guy who leaked scrims, all that wild stuff. He's the assistant general manager for TSM now. And this is a conversation between them. I don't know how all this stuff keeps leaking. I don't know if Shenny, if this came from a stream on accident, if this got posted somewhere, whatever. But this is obviously, Shenny's Discord, assuming at least. And there's this whole conversation in Chinese, Mandarin, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, I can understand it. I don't know what's going on. But we did get a rough translation in the next message from LCS Eevee. He says, TLDR, pretty much Shenny is saying sorry to the fans. He and the coach didn't communicate well, emotionally too. I don't know exactly what that means. So what, they didn't communicate well, and they were communicating emotionally, like tempers were flaring, something like that is kind of what it sounds like to me. I don't really know. It's not like a great sentence, but he does say he apologized to the coach and the coach forgave him. So that's good. Is that Chowie? Is that one of their assistant coaches? I don't know for sure, but hey, that is a good thing to hear. That, hey, he apologized. That takes a lot of maturity and a lot of strength and stuff to do. That's great, and I'm glad the coach forgave him as well because, yes, he absolutely should. It's a young adult in this situation, in a crazy situation. So yeah, everyone moving on from this will be awesome. He does say the team wanted to pick Nautilus, but he ended up picking Rel only because 5 seconds were left. And the previous day, they had already communicated to play Rel. He then say he's so sorry to everyone, he will work hard, and hope everyone will support TSM. He sent the apology statement to Glenn, and Glenn modified it a bit to make it more like a PR statement, and that PR statement, Shenny is going to post it. He assumes that's going to Weibo, but he also got really tilted afterwards, and his teammates laughed at him which is kind of a whole interesting twist at the end of all of this. So again, what Shenny is saying doesn't necessarily, like, this is the third separate story we're hearing now. That doesn't necessarily sound like him insta-locking something. And I know that if you go to the Reddit thread about this, TSM subreddit, Team Solo Mid, there is a Reddit thread about this, messages between Shenny and assistant general manager. Going to view all comments, and I don't watch a ton of Twitch in general. I'm not a huge live stream guy, so I do miss out on a lot of stuff that happens on Twitch. But this guy here says he does know for a fact that he has struggled picking champions for people in Champions Queue. They asked for Gwen, and he had a hard time finding her and ended up dodging before they just remade. This is obviously the differences between them not knowing the English names of the champions, and the champions are in a different order because alphabetically it's difficult to type in the champions' names if you don't know them or know how to spell them and all that stuff. And if that's leading to him dodging games in Champions Queue when the pressure's off, the games don't matter, and you're pretty relaxed, I can only imagine the stress and pressure he's feeling even in something like Draft, where he doesn't exactly know all the champions. He doesn't know all their names. Maybe he couldn't find them. Maybe something was going on. And he's already feeling a ton of stress and pressure and everything on stage already because, hey, he's this big free agent. TSM spent all this money on him. He moved from China all the way over to the United States. Couple games into the season, he's maybe not performing that great. The team's maybe not doing that well. They're not doing that great in scrims. There's all these expectations, everything going wrong, and it can add to stress, add to pressure, make things like this even harder. Now, the other end is people saying, hey, there was 5 seconds left on the draft. Is he actually telling the truth now? Did he actually just panic because he couldn't find his champion and he just remembered, oh yeah, yesterday we said we were going to pick Rel, so I'm just going to pick Rel. People are saying, hey, 5 seconds, you probably could have waited a little longer. If there was like 1 second, you had to hurry up and pick something. That's a different story. And then also there's the whole situation of like, okay, if you did just, really, you couldn't find the champ or you were panicking or whatever and you needed to pick a champ, so you picked Rel. Why did you go and be rude or disrespectful or whatever to your coaches afterwards? Now, hey, a lot of these things aren't adding up. Who knows? At the end of the day, I do think a lot of the problem does fall back to TSM and their PR and how they communicated the whole situation. Because if it really was just kind of like a weird, honest mistake like this, now going out and letting Shenny take all the blame and all the hate and all this stuff and benching him and making this whole thing look crazy, that's really, really bad. All the fallout that this meant for Spica and all the other members on the TSM team, that's really bad. When TSM could have just come out and made a statement. They could have taken the blame. They could have shouldered this whole thing. They could have cleared it up. They could have just told people the truth. But now we're on the third version of the story. It's really impossible to tell what's true, what's not, what's the real story, what's not. Obviously, none of us were there, and none of us are really ever going to know what did happen. But yeah, people are saying that this is a pretty accurate translation of these messages. There's other people on the TSM subreddit, saying that, hey, this translation is more or less pretty accurate. And yeah, obviously it's awesome that Shenny is apologetic. It's awesome that he seems to be wanting to apologize to the fans and give a good statement. He also, wants to apologize to his coaches and all that. And hopefully TSM will now be able to move past this whole situation. But I did want to give you guys this one update because I did think this was kind of a curveball in the whole thing. And maybe it makes you think a little bit different about Shenny. Maybe it makes you think a little bit different about the whole situation. Yes, he was still rude to his coaches or whatever. Yes, he was still disrespectful. But maybe he didn't just go totally rogue and just, troll pick and draft or say, hey, I'm the coach now. I'm picking whatever I want. But then there's also the thing at the end where it's like he got really tilted because his teammates laughed at the whole situation. I'm sure they weren't laughing at him. It says laughed at him. Maybe it felt like they were laughing at him, but I'm sure, they just laughed at the situation. Like, hey, this guy just picked a champ on his own, and now he's like yelling at the coaches and stuff. Like, it might be a little bit funny. I can see Spica, like laughing about that or being like, yo, dude, what the heck is going on? And it could feel like, hey, maybe they're laughing at me. Maybe, especially if they don't have the best relationship and stuff yet. So I don't know. It just seems like TSM is a mess right now. So many emotions and stress and all this stuff going on. Doesn't seem like a great working environment. Doesn't seem like a lot of like positive things are going on behind the scenes. A lot of confusion, a lot of miscommunication. And this is what happens when you have imports and culture shock and culture changes and language barriers on top of losing games and having this whole disaster behind the scenes. Coaches are getting fired. Players are getting benched. They spent all this money. It's a mess, but this was a pretty big update to the situation that I want to get out to you guys. But that is pretty much it for this video today. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this whole situation. Does this change anything for you? Does this make it make more sense, less sense? I don't know. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Hope we catch you guys in the next one. But until then,